Welcome to our segment, Your Coming Out Party. I'm your host, Jessica Krauser, and I'm here with my co-host, Brian Baker.
Hey, hey.
So, Brian, when did you come out of the closet with PD?
The PD closet. I came out fairly quick after being diagnosed because I had so many friends that were noticing things that it had to make sense. So, in a true story is I was about a week before I was diagnosed, I was playing cards with some friends of mine that I've played with since I was in high school, and I was having trouble shuffling the cards, and they thought I was drunk. I hadn't been drinking all night. They're like, "What's in your Gatorade bottle?" They're like, "How drunk are you? You can't even shuffle cards." And they were joking around and giving me a hard time. I had another friend of mine that I saw 4 or 5 times a year, and he said, "I just thought you were drunk every time I saw you because you were moving slow and things like that." So I wanted people to know that I didn't have a drinking problem and that there was I was taking this head on. So I came out fairly quick through social media.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and all those friends that were making fun of me were like, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." But
So did you also call people one-on-one or
just my parents?
Okay.
Other than that, I kind of let it kind of go out there and talk to him at work a little bit.
Did you talk to your son about it right away?
No, yeah, I just figured he would catch on to it as we progress. So I never really sat him down and said, this is what it is, this is what it means.
But he knows you have it.
Correct.
Okay. Did you tell work right away?
I was pretty open with work. I always have been open with work because, like I said in the previously, that there was things going on at work that people didn't feel I was approachable because I looked like I was grouchy all the time.
Yeah.
So that
Oscar the Grouch.
yeah. So I wanted people to know that, listen, this is this disease has taken my natural smile away, my natural facial expression. So I came out fairly quick.
Who would you say? Did anybody take it the hardest or take it I
don't think so. I never had time to feel sorry for myself. I have a son to raise. I have a job to do. I have, a life to live. And I never curled up in the corner of the couch and cried. I was like, this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
And just tried to attack it the best way I could. What
did that do for your overall state of mind, being able to talk about it?
I talked about this earlier. When I was first diagnosed, probably for that first year, every thought, every minute, everything was consumed by Parkinson's. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? What am I going to do that? And literally, I just woke up one morning. I was like, I'm not living today because I'm worried about tomorrow or this disease. And I had to just push it off to the side and say, I have this, and I can't let it control me. So there's that piece of it.
Do you have siblings?
I do.
How many?
I have 3.
Okay. Did they did you talk to them about it?
No. Like I said, I just.
So you had your coming out, but you let it kind of happen on its own.
Yeah, I just kind of threw it out there, and whoever called and talked about it, we talked about it. But
do you talk about it with your family?
Some, I said, it's not like I don't hide from it. Like I said, it's not like we did anything wrong to get this disease. I'm not ashamed of it. But there's things that they need to know. That I may not want to go someplace because I don't want to drive there, or that I'm going to be tired when I get there, and stuff like that. So, so how about you?
I might as well put mine on a billboard. I was the first day, I told work right away. They knew something all along because I was going to so many doctor's appointments, and I work in the pharmaceutical industry. So it was kind of not a bad thing to know that there's what we help with patients already. So it was open to talk about diagnoses and patients and things like that. I actually told our whole company at a company meeting we had 2 months after my diagnosis. But again, we were talking about how the work that my company does helps, down the line patients receive medication. So to me, it felt, perfect that I can say, hey, the work that we do is helping people like me. And so I actually came out to them that way. I called my parents and my in-laws, and they were pretty distraught at first, just because not everybody noticed the symptoms that I had. right away, like my mom did. And so I I was telling her about it along the way. She had a little bit of a rough time with it. We went on a trip shortly after my diagnosis, and, just, I think in true motherly fashion, they just want their child to be okay and be able to help them if they can. But then again, once the education and, we learned about it, that made things better. When it came to my friends and like neighbors, I called my best friend from home, and I told her about it. But then I said, I'm like, I can't have this conversation, so many different times. So like I have a core group of girlfriends from high school that I'm still very close with. I have a core group from college that I'm still very close with. And so I'm like, I'm going to send a text message. So it's like, I texted them about my diagnosis, and I told them, I'm like, I'm sorry that I'm not like talking about it with you. But after a while, I felt like Debbie Downer, like, wah, wah, like, guess what's wrong with me? And it's like, I didn't want it to be that way. But I also wanted to talk about it to become, an advocate and driving awareness and being able to do walks and, raise money. And I knew that was in my future, like what I wanted to do. So I wanted, people to be prepared as to like why I was doing that. I just didn't want to have a separate conversation.
Yeah, I did the same thing. That's why, like I said, I kind of went out on social media because I didn't want to have to repeat myself so many times. And,
But it was amazing. Like the reactions I got sometimes, I still remember two of my neighbors were inside just hanging out with Derek and I and the kids. And I can't remember how it came up. And I just said, I found out what I have, this is what's wrong. And I'm just talking about it like no big deal. And they both like started tearing up and crying. And I'm like, what's wrong? And they're like, how can you just say it and you're fine and this and that? I'm like, because I am. Like, it's still me. Like, yes, things are going to be different, but they were just shocked at how open I guess I was.
Yeah. Yeah, I have found that same thing. I'm very open, but there's a lot of people that aren't. And it's a very, you have to do what you want to do and what's best for you in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm very social. I'm very outgoing, or used to be, I guess. And so, so telling people that and having people realize that I'm not drunk, or that's why I'm having trouble shuffling cards and stuff like that. And my friends, they all they just make fun of me now. It's just an ongoing joke. We just laugh about it.
I know it's always great when my friends, like in the neighborhood, a few of them are a few years older than me, and they'll talk about getting older. I'm like, all right, I know you guys might be older in age, but I'm going to be aging well before you guys are. Did I ever tell you the story of how I told the twins? So I know a lot of people, like you said, they don't want to talk to their grandkids about it. They don't want to maybe talk to their kids about it yet, depending upon how old they are. And to me, everything, it's all relevant based on how you deliver the information. So I didn't do it right away because Derek was, very hesitant on getting them involved. So I think we waited just a few months, and I told him, like, I'm going to talk to them. I don't want you near me because I don't want it to be like, sit down, Mom. This is what's going on with Mom. It's like I didn't want to make it that tone. So they were having breakfast one morning, and they're like 9 years old, and they're sitting at the table. I was like, so guys, I'm like, I have, some actually good news. I'm like, I went to the doctor and they found out why I've been shaking. And they're like, no way. They're like, are they able to fix it? And I'm like, well, like, not really. I was like, I can take medicine. It'll help me, but I'll have it the rest of my life. And they're like, okay. And I told them what it was called, and they're like, okay. And they're like, can you pass me a banana? Like they're just still like going on about their day. And I was like, but the good thing is, I was like, how I've been having trouble with my foot and my leg. I'm like, it's all connected. And they're like, oh, that's great. And they like could have cared less, but I think it was the way I was delivering it. We didn't talk about how it's degenerative, like over time, like, as they grow older, we'll continue to have more conversations. But my son actually compared it to how he has acid reflux. He's like, oh, so it's kind of like how I have acid reflux. Like, it really won't go away the rest of my life. He's like, it'll always be there, and I just have to take some Tums for it. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, Z-Pack.
Yeah. So, but it was, to me, it felt very good coming out, especially to the kids, just because, you live with them.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was living a lie, not talking about it, because they can visibly see stuff or hear me talk about things. And I didn't want them to be afraid. And the biggest thing I told them is, it's like, and they did ask me, they're like, you know, is it like cancer? Can you die? And I was like, you cannot die from Parkinson's. You can die with Parkinson's, but the disease itself is not something that can kill you. So in our last 30 seconds, I'd like to leave you with this. Whatever your decision is, always, always do what's best for you. Not everyone is open about situations in their life, but with this degenerative disease, rarely does it affect just you. Those in your life will recognize the changes if they don't already. Be open and communicate. Stick to the facts and educate them. Be specific on how they can help or not help. If anything, sharing your PD diagnosis might get you to meet other cool PD patients like us. Then you can share similar stories and potentially educate each other on things the other wasn't aware of. So talk, be bold, be open, and have your coming out party.